Now let's be honest here, partner, outreaching is never easy, and if you spent an entire day doing it without pulling your hair out, then you have my respect, because it isn't easy. But what if we want to do it better? Easier. Spend more time on what matters and less time on what actually doesn't. This is what this video is for, as I sprinkle a little of the sauce that I learned on my journey to improve my outreach. Now, why are we calling this the lazy way to do outreach? Haven't we highlighted that all outreach is maddening to the point of that you wish for the sweet release of demise? Well, that is true, but what makes this the lazy way is that we're gonna be allocating our efforts just a little bit differently. Up to recently, my way of doing outreach has pretty much just stayed consistent regardless of the person that I was looking at. I'd look for the channel and see if it filled the profile that I was looking for and the niche I was interested in, take one of their most recent / most popular videos, re-edit a sample of it, and then send it to them in a well-made, tailored, but still cold email. Now, that is a good way to go about it, and it is gonna be enough for the vast majority of cases, especially if you take that sample and cross-post it onto your social medias while putting a link to your portfolio site or a link to book a call with you, just to get more of that inbound lead flow. But the problem with doing it that way is the very same point that gives it its value: time. These sample edits take an extremely long amount of time to do because you're actively stretching the limits of your abilities and creativity to make something great. Unless you're gonna spend like 30 minutes because you already know what you want to do and just put it and implement it literally into the workflow, then you're gonna spend about 2 hours just trying to understand how to implement the ideas in your head and then actually doing it. And that's, there's always more to learn because there's always more stuff to improve. So is there something that we can do that would incorporate something else but that takes a little bit less time? Well, I'd say the answer for this, my fellow chap, is a very resounding yes. The idea that I got recently about this is that you can break down the intensiveness of the lead magnet that you're sending off with a cold email, i.e. the sample edit in this case, but just break it down into something smaller but would be still valuable to the person. Back to the video editing example, say instead of making a full-on sampled re-edit of their content, I can just write a detailed list of feedback based off popular precedent and popular practice in other videos, and then just point it out for them and send it off. Or in other cases, say I don't want to edit that type of channel, but I really like the person, I want to work with them, I could redesign their thumbnails or do a similar list but for their thumbnail design. Since those usually take less time, that way you're not spending the entire day just to get a few sample edits, and you can actually spend more time sending out more deliverables that would actually be useful while not having to commit as much time that you would not otherwise probably have. It's one of the solutions that I had to come up with, since for whatever reason I keep seeing that my college obligations creeping up on me until leaving me no room to freaking breathe, sapping more and more of my time away like an energy vampire. 7 more weeks, then at last I'll be free from my burdens and shackles. 7 more weeks I can actually taste the freaking freedom of it, where I can go full-time on my work and not to feel like I'm constantly in chains. Freedom is at hand, brothers, to a glorious day. I think it's important to keep in mind that this doesn't apply to just the video editing business, it applies to pretty much any kind of online business so long as you're doing the prospecting right. I just use it because it's the thing that I have the most experience and knowledge in actually doing it with my own 2 hands. You should always find enough materials online about the person, organization, or network for you to create something that would be valuable to them to at the very least get your foot into the door. That's the goal here. Because in my experience, unless they already know you from before, i.e. they were nurtured by the content that you put out online, or they were referred by someone internally from their network that they trust, or maybe they already knew you before because you have a big brand, but in then that case you wouldn't even be here. Probably. Is that they're just probably not gonna answer a random DM or cold email that bounced off into their inbox. And if done badly, it's probably just gonna piss them off because I've had the same exact thing happen to me. So I just started to be a lot more careful about sending some bland, generic, cold email to a bunch of people because I would be effectively burning those leads. Self-awareness is always the best business hack. Heard from Dan Cole. But that's all what we're gonna be doing for the day. If you're looking for a video editor, then I'd be happy to be of help. My contacts are in the description. I do have a business newsletter if you like this type of content but in more of a text setting. And with that, bye.